I'm Ryan Friedlinghouse, CEO of the world famous West Coast Customs. This is our first ever 24-hour live build, sponsored by ToughBuilt. Starts now. Okay, it's official. The 24-hour build is starting. I mean, usually we're at the SEMA Convention Center, talking to fans, signing autographs, building cars. Since we couldn't make it to SEMA this year, we brought SEMA inside West Coast Customs. So we brought you the West Coast Customs experience, where we're gonna build this car for ToughBuilt, and we're gonna auction it off. So I hope everybody's excited for this build as much as we are. I got the team ready to go. We have 24 hours to get this thing done. So we're gonna start now. For the past week, we've been talking about YouTube giving. Well, now that the 24-hour build is live and we're actually building this truck, you can donate now. So here's how it works, pretty simple. While you're watching me right now, on the right of your screen, you'll see a YouTube giving page. You click donate. You can donate up to $10,000. However much you donate collectively will be your total amount at the end. So the highest bidder, of course, wins this truck. 100% of the funds is being donated to USO, so nobody's taking a cut off of this. These guys get the money directly to their foundation, which means a lot to me. I mean, in the past, we built tons and tons of military vehicles. We love working with the military because at the end of the day, they allow us to do what we love to do. So we want to help our military and give back to them. So make sure you click show my name so we know who you are, and let the highest bidder win this truck.
We'll walk around the vehicle here. You can see that the hood has already been wrapped. All of these trim pieces have been put back in. It looks awesome. I really, really like this satin wrap. Again, you can see the highlights and the lowlights, all the body lines. It makes it look really sharp. We have the fender flares that are going to clip back in here, so you can see where they've kind of cut out for each one of these clips. The fender flares are going to stay gloss, along with a few other accents like the mirrors, the door handles. There's going to be some gloss black on the wheels as well, so that's kind of going to pull it all together. You can see we put the handles back on, but we're leaving the door panels off on the interior. The reason why, next up is audio. So we're going to get these factory speakers out of here. This stuff has to go. We're going to put in some aftermarket audio. The truck's got to sound awesome too. I mean, it can't just be a work truck that you're going to be in day after day and not sound good as well. So next up is audio. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that as we work our way around the truck. We're going to keep the factory screen. These new Dodge Rams have that awesome 12-inch screen in the dash. Nobody wants to get rid of that for a small little radio or even a smaller screen. So we're going to keep that in dash. We have to interface with all of the factory audio to add our aftermarket audio in here. So there's a few different processors that we're going to wire in. We're going to change the door speakers. We're going to add a 4-channel amp and a 2-channel amp from Addictive Audio, a couple 10-inch Addictive Audio subs underneath the rear seat. The guys are going to start in the speaker box here in a little bit. We're going to work our way around the back here. You can see all we have left to wrap on the back of this is the tailgate and the rear bumper. So we're making good progress. These guys are finishing up the bedside over here now. And you can see all the detail that goes into this. So I have some of our audio gear. Addictive Audio has come through, put together a nice little sound system for us. We have some amplifiers, we have some door speakers, we have some subs that are going to go underneath the rear seat. Metra has provided all of their T-spec wiring. So RCAs, amplifier install kits, all of our interconnects, our switches, that's all by Metra with their T-spec line of products. Gonna work our way down. Second Skin, the best sound deadening in the game. We want to sound deaden behind each one of these speakers. You want the sound to be solid. You don't want to hear anything rattling around, any reverberations, any rattles in the vehicle. So we get rid of that. We use Second Skin on all of our builds. Makes everything sound so much better. Take a few steps back behind you here. This is all the lift components, which the guys are working on the lift right now. The guys from DSI and 4 Wheel Parts are putting in a ProComp 6-inch lift. 6 inches in the front, 4 inches in the rear, so the final look will be a level look. I know most people notice on trucks that the front end sits a little bit lower from the factory. We like to level that out. So we bring the front end up an extra 2 inches. That way it sits level with the rear. Over on this side here are all of our Heiss LED light bars. So we've got this giant light bar, a 52-inch curved light bar. This one is going on the top of the cab, right above the windshield. We have these small guys, they're 8-inch light bars. They're going underneath the rear bumper in the back. I mean, if this thing's a work truck, you need to be able to fire up these lights and work wherever you are on location. So doing some of the smaller lights in the back. We've got some small fog lights for the front, as well as a medium-sized light bar that's going to go in our grille. So as we work with all of our lighting, we're going to encompass the entire vehicle. So the top, the grille, underneath in the back, as well as fog lights up front. When we get back around to the front of the truck, it's starting to look like that final look on this vehicle. We've got a satin wrap on basically all sides. They're finishing up the front bumper now. I think in a matter of about 15-20 minutes, they're going to have this trimmed out and tucked away. We can actually start putting some of this front end back together. We have our grille. The grille is gloss black. We want to keep some of those gloss accents on here. So we'll be able to reassemble the grille in preparation for the ToughBuilt logo to go in. We'll start putting the badging on the side in a little bit. But next up is audio. So get these guys over here and get them started. The next thing that we have to do on our badges, we need to back mask the ToughBuilt grill badge. What we'll do is we'll mask off all the orange and white, spray everything black, shoot it with one more layer of clear, pull it off, and it's ready to go on the truck after a little dry time. The lift on the front end, Orlando's almost done with the front lift. He's going to get ready to shift to the back of the truck here in a few minutes. He's basically bolting up the rest of the components on the front end right now. These control arms have gone back in, the axles are back in. He's getting ready to put the whole steering knuckle and everything back together in here. So side by side he's getting there. You can see that now all of our components are 6 inches lower than they once were. So by dropping down that whole cross member, the truck comes up. So we're going to have a 6-inch lift in the front, 4-inch lift in the rear. The reason why they do it that way, the trucks come 2 inches lower in the front. That's just how they build these things. It's so you can have that extra payload in the back and it'll sit level. When we lift them so they're level all the time. So when they're driving, they look nice at all times, and they don't have that stink bug rake stance to it. We can see back here, Abraham has already taken out all the door speakers, and he's working underneath the seat here. So what's underneath the seat is the factory amplifier. Now that factory amplifier is not going to amplify any of the speakers anymore. All we're doing is stealing the signal from the amplifier. So we take that high level signal that comes from the radio to the amp and we interrupt it. We can then take that high level signal and basically give us an output for our amplifiers. It's going to be an RCA output that we can plug into our aftermarket amplifiers. Carlos is building the speaker box, but inside that speaker box is an amp rack. So we'll have our 4-channel amp and our monoblock both built into the speaker box. All the wiring is going to one place right underneath this seat. The way we do everything here is plug and play. So we make our own harnesses. At the end of each harness is a Molex plug. If we ever need to pull anything out, we just unplug it just like a factory piece would come apart from the car. One thing that we need to do before we put these speakers in, I don't know if you can hear all that rattle and that sound in there, but it sounds horrible. So we need to sound deaden that. We use a product called Second Skin. Second Skin for the win. It's the best sound deadening out there. It looks nice, but it gets rid of all that vibration, all that rattle, and makes the speakers sound more accurate and more clean. How you doing over here, bud?
Good so far.
Coming back together now.
Yes, sir.
About how long before you're ready to jump onto the back end?
Probably like another hour or so.
Another hour, okay. The back, much quicker than the front. The front with all the steering components and everything else that goes on up here, way more work. The back end, it's a breeze compared to doing this front end suspension. And last but not least, they're almost done with this big curved light bar going on the roof. It takes a long time to drill into that part of the truck. And people are always wondering, why does it take so long to mount a light bar up there versus the small ones in the back? There's 4 layers of metal that they're going through up here. They make it very stiff for rollover protection. If you roll your vehicle over, you want this to be strong. It has to protect you. Well, when you're drilling into that metal, you can tell how strong it is. So these guys have been in here for a while. They open it up one step at a time. They let the metal cool off. They'll work on something else. They'll come back, open it up another step. Otherwise, you just go tearing through drill bits. You're going to beat up your drill bits, throw those things out because they're done after this. So they do it one step at a time. This side's mounted. You're putting the other side on right now, Puertas? This side bracket? Okay. How long before we can put the light bar on? 1 hour? Okay, so we got 1 hour on the suspension, 1 hour on the light bar. Most of this stuff still needs to be wired. So Abraham's working right now behind the scenes. He's put together his own fuse box. That fuse box is pre-harnessed. It's going to run off to each one of these light bars. We have one going in the grill, one on the roof, two in the back. So everything has its own fusing and harnesses. They'll have their own switches to turn them on and off. We like to isolate everything from the factory system. That way if something goes wrong, it's easy to troubleshoot and it's not taxing all the other wiring that's in the vehicle. All right, guys, we'll check in a little bit. Thanks for watching.